Hello, everyone. I at least see one eyeball. So when I say everyone, I'm being very literal. If you can hear and see me okay, let me know in the comments. This is my very first time live streaming from my cabin at the lake. So I've literally never done this before, and I'm hoping that you can see and hear me okay. We're just up here working, and when I say we, I mean my husband. We have a new building project going on here at the lake this summer. So I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time up here. And what I do when I come up to the lake, hi, Cheryl. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you can hear me okay, Cheryl. When I come up to the lake, I always pack a few crafty goodies because I do have a space here at the lake where I can craft. So especially on a weekend or during the week when it's just me and the hubby here, then what I do is I have a desk set up in our loft at the cabin, and I bring just a few supplies. I don't bring very much. I pack, I'll show you what I pack. Something just went on the floor, but that's okay. I pack a bag like this, which I'm just going to zoom you out just a tiny little bit so you can see a little bit better. So this is just one of those zipper bags. Hi, Tiffany. Thanks so much for joining me. It's awesome that you're here. So I just pack up a little bag like this, a little zipper bag, and I put in just like a bunch of stuff that maybe I haven't played with yet, or things that are really basics. Like I like to bring some of my Gina K Master layouts. I love the master layouts. I use them lots. I've got a couple of little Simon Says stamp things in here that I haven't used yet. A few new Tim Holtz stencils, just that kind of thing. And then I pack my tote, like my craft tote that's on wheels. I put any inks that I want to work with, or any other things that that might be a little bit bigger. I'll pack into my craft tote, and then I'm set. And today I'm drinking some coffee with some Bailey's Irish cream in it because it is extremely horrible weather at the lake. It's really, really cool. I'm just looking on my computer right here to see if it says, but I don't see it right now. But I think it's like, oh, there it is. It's 8 degrees Celsius today here at the lake. That's very cold. I feel like this morning the rain could have almost been snow. It's just really chilly here for June 8th, and it's raining, and my husband is out trenching right now because we're building a garage with a living quarters above, and he's trenching the sewer and the water and the power and all of that kind of stuff today. So lots of stuff going on, but for me, just kind of sitting in my craft room crafting. So yeah, it's very chilly, Cheryl. It's not nice at all. So I don't have fancy nails. I definitely have my lake nails. They're just natural. And I have pulled out some Alex Syberia that I'm going to be creating with today. And this is brand new product, or it's her most recent release. And I love this. It's really, really nice. I'm going to show you some of the things about this elegant peony die set that I really love. And we're going to make a couple of really quick cards. I'm also going to be using this new set here as well. This is the Heartfelt Blooms stamp coordinating dies and stencils. There's actually also, I think, a hot foil plate for this as well. I don't have it, but it's really awesome. If you're new to Alex Syberia, it's a fairly new company. She has beautiful stuff, and I really, really love it. I also am going to use, and I'm just realizing now I forgot to link to this, but this, and I'll go in after and link this up too as well in the description box, but this is the chevron chic stencil, which is really cool. So you get this really lovely chevron pattern, and it is a 6x6. So I have die cut these out, and I'm going to go ahead and add some ink to those. And I know the light's not very good. We have weird shadows and that kind of thing, but I don't have any fancy lighting here at the lake. I don't have anything fancy. It's all just really, really basic. Yeah, they're really great, Tiffany. I agree totally. They're awesome. Tiffany said, really beautiful. I love these two products from Alex. I use the peony one for our make and takes at Create. Perfect. I didn't realize Alex Syberia was at, Tiffany, I knew you were at Create because I saw your pictures, but I didn't realize, I guess I just didn't realize that you were working at Alex's table. So I wasn't at Create this year. I was there last year with Crafter's Companion, but my daughter was expecting a baby, or she had her baby. I didn't go because I was on grandma watch. I had to be around which was great, to look after my other little grandson. So I didn't get there this time, but anyways, yeah. So I know Create's a lot of fun. Okay, so I have one of my waffle flower mats here, and I've just put that out here because I have on my surface, this is just like a really cheap silicone mat from Amazon that I use just to protect my desk when I'm here at the lake. But I brought this little mat, or actually I leave this mat here too. I really love it because I can use these little pots over here for different product. I'll show you what I'm going to do with those today. Yeah, I just like this mat. It's also really great for ink blending. So on the back of the packaging here, it's really great because she shows you, the packaging just shows how you can layer up this peony. Now, one of my favorite things, I love that this company has the turquoise dyes. I think that's really cool. And the dyes are excellent quality. And I love that the dyes create the cut lines in the actual die. So they're not in the die cut. They're not actually embossed. They're cuts. So I think that just creates really beautiful detail. And that's just sort of like the extra little pièce de résistance with these dies. I think it just sets them kind of apart from some of the other layering dies that you see out there in the industry. I'm just reading some comments. Cheryl has not heard of Alex Syberia. It's a pretty new company. I would say maybe Tiffany can tell us, like in the last couple of years, maybe even just the last year. 100% the city tables are no joke. When you are finished those 2 days of make and takes, you just need to go somewhere really quiet and just just be one with your own thoughts. Yeah, it is a lot of fun, but when you're working at the tables, it's very stimulating to say the least. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these all up in the order that they are meant to be. Just missing one over here. So this guy goes here. And then this one is next. I like to line them up just because then I kind of get a little bit of a better idea of where I want my different tones of ink to go and that kind of thing. And no, the blue does not come off. The blue doesn't, I agree. The blue doesn't come off at all. I'm fairly new. I've got a few other sets of hers, but I've never found that the blue comes off. Just taking a little sip of my coffee. Okay, so we're going to start with 3 colors of kind of orangey tones of ink. I'm using my Simon Says Stamp inks, and I brought 2 different types of inks with me this weekend. I wanted to bring a set of dye inks, and I have pretty much all of the Simon Positively Saturated inks, and they're just a really, really nice dye ink. They blend nicely, and the color palette is quite extensive. And so when I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing, I like to bring this set. And then I also like to bring my Distress Oxide inks, just in case I want to use those. And then what I do is I also bring my tower of brushes, my blending brushes, because it travels really easily on that little, I think that one's called the Layer Cake from Makeup by Marco. And I love, it's just a really easy way to transport my inks. So those are fantastic. And I will go back if there's some things that I didn't link in the description box because this was pretty impromptu. I'll go back after and put some links in that I probably missed. Okay, so we're going to start off with this color called Cheeky. The other really nice thing about working on a silicone mat is your things don't move. So this is going to be pretty nice and solid over here. And this Cheeky color is just a really, really pretty pale kind of corally orange. And I'm going to blend that onto my base here. Now, I am going to just grab my paper towel. And I'm just going to rub my brush on here and make sure I don't have too much dark on there to start with. But I use the same brush for the light, medium, and dark inks. And then I just brush off the excess ink onto some paper towel in that way. And then you're pretty much using a fresh brush. And again, I apologize for the wonky light. If I was at home, you know, I have a pretty fancy tech setup there with Elgato lights and fancy cameras and stuff. But here at the lake, I do not have any of that. So I'm just going to start in the center and I'm going to blend out to the edges. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the head of my brush here. And I'm just using little clockwise and counterclockwise motions just to create the base color for this base peony here. And just getting a little bit of color. So you can see those cut lines, how they're picking up the ink, and it's going to be a little bit darker where those cut lines are. And then you just get that gorgeous, gorgeous detail. Do you prefer the full-size pads when you go to the lake, or do you bring the minis? I actually don't own the minis. If I did, I definitely would bring them. I have minis in Altenew, but I don't have the entire collection. So I'm just kind of starting to collect those. And because I wasn't really sure what colors I was going to use for sure, I brought all of those, but I want to show you how I transport them. This is the key right here. These are the Totally Tiffany Stephanie bags. And I have, you know, if you don't know, I work for Crafters Companion. So I have a lot of Totally Tiffany storage and I love it. I love, love, love it. So I'll show you these just quickly here. They hold, so in this Stephanie bag, you get 4 of these little cases. They just pull out from the top like this. And you can fit 6 inks in each one of these. And there's 4 of these in each tray or each one of the Stephanie bags. So you can get 24 colors in one of these bags. And then these they just Velcro closed. And then there's a little handle on the end. And I have a big Tiffany tote that's made out of the same type of fabric. And all of these Stephanie, every one of my Simon colors fit into my Stephanie containers, and they all fit into my tote really easily. In fact, I can also fit all of my oxide inks in there as well. And I'm just going to grab one of my oxide ink containers. For my oxides, I store them in my Chasitys bags. So this is very similar to the Stephanie, except it's a smaller dimension. And this is perfect for your distress oxide inks or your distress inks. And again, you can fit, in this one, you can get 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. So you can get 28 inks in the Chasitys bags. And again, they just Velcro shut. They have a handle on the end. And I store these in my Calyx. So I don't have the Stampin' Storage ink containers or whatever in my Calyx. I just use my Totally Tiffany bags. And when I'm ready to work with these on my desk, I just grab them by the handle. I pull them out onto my desk. I open them up. I grab out whatever it is that I want to use. And they're just so terrific. I highly, highly recommend these. They're fairly inexpensive and they last forever. They're really well made. They're easy to put together. There's a little bit of assembly. The packaging is all flat when you get it, and then you just quickly assemble them. But once you have them assembled, they last forever and they're really, really great. So if you've got the, what is it, Lisa Horton ink pads, the Lisa Horton ink pads fit in these ones. And then like your Gina K or your Catherine Pooler, your Pink Fresh, etc., all fit into the Stephanie. So it's either the Chastity or the Stephanie for my ink pads, and that's how I store them. And it's really great for traveling back and forth to the lake. Honestly, it's just grab and go. I can pack up really quickly to come. And I do have, like I said, a big tote on wheels. Just stick everything in there, wheel it out to my car, and I'm off. So hi, Leslie. It's so great to see you. Aw, speaking of a nice surprise, it's nice to see you too. Yeah, so I really am. I'm a huge, huge fan, and I will link the bags for sure, Tiffany. I'll link them for you. Yeah, so they're great. So now we've got the lightest color, the cheeky, on the bottom layer, the largest layer. And then next, I'm going to go on to the second layer, and I'm going to add a little bit of the blush color onto that one. And then we can just go back and forth and add, you know, like once I assemble them, I might say, oh, you know, I want a little bit of darker here, that kind of thing. You can just kind of go back and forth and add as you go. But I like to start off light and then add darker, because once it's dark, you can't really change that too much, right? And it's nice to kind of do a little bit of a darker around the edge. And sometimes I like to vary it. Like I'll do dark on one side, but light on the other, you know, just kind of have fun with it. And every time you use the die, the next time you use it, well, you can use colored cardstock if you want, instead of adding ink to it. But actually, if you're using colored cardstock, you can add ink to the colored cardstock as well to change it up a little bit or add some depth and dimension with your inks. So I really love dies like this. I think they're super, super fun, very versatile. Lots of cool ways that you can use them for sure. But yeah, if you have any questions as I'm creating here, let me know. For sure. I don't know if you can hear the sound of that machine out there. Hopefully not. But yeah, we don't own a backhoe. He rented one, so he's trying to get that finished out there and take the hoe back and get that back to the owner. Okay, so now if you're just joining me, I am crafting at the lake. I am at the cottage, so I'm not in my studio. I don't have any fancy lights or anything like that. It's just, you know, whatever we have kind of thing. Okay, so I am going to, do you see this little area kind of right in there? I would like to make that darker. So I'm going to take this piece out. So for this one, I'm going to go in with the pucker, which is a nice deep orange. And I'm just going to grab some scrap paper here over to the side. Just tap off a little bit. Right in here, I would like just a really, really dark orange in there. And let's layer that back together and see what that looks like. I like that. See how much more dramatic that looks? I like that. That's really pretty. I am not really helping with the construction other than the construction of cards. Yes, vellum would be beautiful. Vellum would be amazing. I am doing a card, Leslie. Yep, you betcha. So I do have one. I made a bit of a prototype. I'm going to make a few changes to this one, but this is kind of the basic prototype for this card. Okay. So I do really love coral and teal together. I think it's a really, really stunning combination. I want to create a little bit of dark on this top one as well. So I'm just going to zoom you guys in a little bit here. I use, when I'm at the lake or if I'm teaching a class where, you know, I can't use necessarily all of the regular technology that I have, I use an app called Camo, C-A-M-O, and it's great. I like it. It works really, really well. It works well with StreamYard. So this guy, let's just check out what that looks like when it's all layered together here. Just going to line these up properly so that we can really see what it's going to look like. That looks better. That gives us kind of a little bit more of a dramatic look. So now you can see we've got some nice variations of color happening here, which you see when, you know, when you look at a flower in nature, you definitely see lights and darks, and you can just keep playing with that. You can, you know, keep adding a little bit of detail. And Leslie, you can definitely use these as embellishments on scrapbooking pages, right? So one of the things I always tell people too is we spend so much money on dyes. Dyes are expensive. So it's great if you can find ways to repurpose or use things in more than one way, right? So these would be beautiful on a scrapbooking page. I'm going to set that aside and I'm just going to, oh, just wait. I forgot. I've got one more layer here. This was kind of buried in my other stuff over to the side. And this is our top layer. So I'm going to go in. I think I'm going to do a little more dramatic here with the pucker. I'm going to start off light. I'll just use what's on the brush and I'll just blend that off. I told my husband if he came into the cabin that he has to be really quiet. Yes, Tiffany, I just noticed that. It was missing the very top layer. I thought it looked kind of weird. I told him if he comes in, he has to be really quiet when he comes in. So if I all of a sudden mute the live, that's why. Okay, so you can just see now that's going to fit on top there and just finish it off beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to set that over to the side and I'm going to grab a baby wipe and just pick up that orange colored ink off my mat. Okay. Still working on the wedding album, Leslie. Every time I see your posts of those layouts, it just makes me happy. They are so beautiful. That last one you posted, I think it was 49 in Market that you used. Oh my gosh, so gorgeous. Your kids are going to be so happy when you finish that album and present that to them. It's beautiful. So this is a stem. And there's going to be 2 leaves, and I have cut these out a couple of times just to layer them up when we put them together, but I'm only going to colorize the top layers, if that makes sense. And we're going to grab some greens. The greens that I've chosen for this are Perfection, Limalicious, and Celery. And again, I will say just, you know, you can use whatever inks that you have, whatever you like. Yes, Crafty Garden. Oh my gosh, I love that collection. So pretty. I just submitted my work for scrapbook and cards for the next issue, and there might be a little Crafty Garden in there. Yeah, it's such a beautiful collection. And I didn't buy very much of the academia. I bought a little bit, like the papers. Well, all of it was beautiful. I just wasn't really sure how I would use it, but I definitely bought some of it. The papers are so beautiful. And that summer porch collection looks so good. I am addicted to that, to 49 in Market for sure. It's so pretty always. So I'm starting off with some celery. And I'm just trying to remember here. This, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use this as the bottom. I guess it just depends on which direction you want your stem to go. And I'm going to do just a base on all of these pieces with that celery. Such a pretty color. So soft, but yet it's got a level of brightness to it too. It kind of reminds me, this is sort of like a nice spring green. Not a layout, actually. No, although I don't know if I'm doing layouts for this issue or not. The ones I've submitted so far are just cards. And by just cards, I don't mean that in that way, but I haven't done any layouts yet for this next issue. So we've got Limalicious next. And I'm just slowly going to creep up with a little bit of darker color here. So we've got the next color, Limalicious, and I'm just going to go on my table and just go up a little wee bit so that we're just adding that little bit of depth so that we've got the lightest at the top. And I don't know if you can see this really super well. I'll hold it into the light a little bit, but we've got the lightest kind of just on the tips of the leaves and just working in that little bit of dimension. And then we'll go in with the Perfection, which is going to be our darker green. I know, Leslie, I always say it, but I want to do more scrapbooking. It's not that I don't want to, it's the time, right? I'm teaching at a retailer event in Vegas in July. So right now, just working on all the details for that. So finishing up creating classes and kitting and that kind of thing. And yeah, so I don't know, it's just, I've been really busy. I'm taking a break right now from Honeybee. I'll be back with them in the fall, but just, and then we have the new baby. Leslie, I can't remember if you knew that there was a new grandbaby. So he was born on May 24th, little Beckett. And I was actually supposed to be in Calgary at an event there at the store. And I just decided that I could not take the chance that the baby was going to come early because he wasn't actually born until supposed to be born until yesterday. Yesterday was her due date, but he came 2 weeks early. And so I'm really glad that I made the decision not to go anywhere and to stay home because he came early. So I know Tiffany, I know it's so good. I'm going to have to get it. I'll be buying it. Yes, Vegas is going to be a lot of fun. What are the advantages of using Camel? What I like about Camel is it's just an app on my iPhone. So I can just, like, when I'm at home, I use a camcorder. I use a Canon camcorder to film with. And I don't have a Mac computer. So what I used to film with an old iPhone 6, I'll just back up a little bit. I used to film with an iPhone 6 because I could transfer files from that iPhone onto my computer. And like I said, I don't have a Mac computer. I have a fancy computer, but it's not a Mac. And so when I upgraded my iPhone, which I did long before I was still using the iPhone 6, but I wanted to, find a different way of transferring files. And when you've got a different camera like that camcorder. So anyhow, I needed to sort of have some sort of a different process. And so I bought the camcorder and then I added this Camel app to my phone for filming when I'm on the go. I don't know if any of that made sense, but oh yeah, thank you so much. He's adorable. The Camo app is really, really easy to use and it integrates with StreamYard really well. And yeah, I just really like it. It has a lot of really good capabilities, like the zoom feature, for example. That's pretty cool for card making. This, don't laugh, but this is a ruler that I used to have in my classroom. Mrs. Clark, room 107. but it's the ruler that I brought with me to the lake. So this panel is 4 1/4. So or actually, no, it's not, because I used the master layouts. So the master layouts is actually 4 inches. I'm just going to make a tiny little tick mark here at 2. And I used the master layouts 12 for this. And it's this die here. I love it because it's stitched. But, you know, the master layouts 2 is the one that I use probably the most of the master layouts. But I love Gina. She's amazing. And I love her dies. I love her master layouts. So I'm just going to try to line this chevron pattern up, and I'm just going to have to stand up for a second. There's probably a better way to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get my Spellbinders tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up that chevron pattern, just making sure that it is in the center. And I'm going to tape it down just in case. And I'm going to tape my paper down. I could use just a piece of curled paper or tape on the back, but I'm going to do this. And so there we have that tape down. And that's just going to create a really pretty background for us. I am actually going to use this color, which I think is super pretty. Yes, little Beckett. Oh my gosh, he is so sweet. Oh, he is adorable. And so far, so this is due. Simon says stamp due. So far, he is a really good baby, but we don't like to say that out loud. We don't like to talk about it too much because we don't want to jinx it, right? Every time I say that, my daughter's like, well, like, we don't really want to, you know, because her other little guy was colicky. And that was tough, right? That was a little bit of a struggle to deal with. First baby and colicky, right? But this little guy so far is just so good. Touch wood. Yeah, so I love this stencil, but it is, you know, whenever you've got a stencil that has lines in it like this, you just have to be really careful not to, you know, you don't want it to move because you want your ink to just go in those openings, right? So I have it taped down. I'm holding it on this side, and you'll notice that I'm just sliding this. I'm not going back and forth this way. I'm sliding it with the stencil. Yeah. Any questions? I don't see any. Let's tap off that excess. I don't want this. I just kind of want this to be a little bit subtle. I don't want it to be too dark. And I'm just going kind of gently. I'm not being too rough with it like that. That's not good. So just holding it down with my hands. And we are getting a little bit of a line there, but our peony is going to be there. So it's going to cover that up. But there's probably a better technique for this. But another thing that you could do is put a little bit of tape there, but I really love this chevron pattern. It is fantastic. Down here at the bottom, it's pretty stable. Can go a little bit more aggressively in there, but I just want a kind of a hint of color in the background. So there you can see, and we almost kind of have a little bit of an ombre look there, which I like too. So it's really pretty, and that's the Chevron Chic stencil. So beautiful. These companies are always coming out with new fun stuff, right? Destroying my pocketbook every time. But I'm going to take a sip. Yes, right? The grip mats would be perfect for this. If you use a grip mat, which I don't have here at the cottage, but if you have a grip mat, whether it's the Alt New or the actually Crafter's Companion has one, or Waffle Flower, that'd be perfect because, you know, you're going to get some good grip on the edges. You still, when you're on your paper here, you're still going to get a little bit of lifting there, but you just have to hold on to it. Take your time, go slow, and it works just perfectly. So there we have our background. And now I'm going to start to do some assembly. I am using just whatever glue I have here at the lake. This happens to be Studio Light. I used to design for Studio Light, and so I have a lot of their glue still in my stash. It's great. It's good glue. Okay, so we're just going to start to assemble, and I'm just going to pick this up and put that on there. I'm going to just lift it up so that I can see what I'm doing and line that up so that all of the edges line up properly. And it is not difficult to do at all. And it's just going to look really dimensional and pretty when we're finished. I know, killing our pocketbooks, right? But it's worth it. My husband walked in my craft room the other day and he said, like, you have everything now, right? And I laughed like, oh, you're so funny. You're so funny. But, well, I always say I could be spending my money on worse things, that's for sure. And when like I said before, when I pack for the lake, when I can come up here and just, it's quiet and I'm just making stuff, I like to bring the stuff I haven't used yet, right? That makes it even more exciting because I just bought some of that new ideology and I've been wanting to try that out. And right now in my bag, I've got some of the latest Elizabeth Craft designs that I want to play with. I love it. Yeah, no kidding, right? No kidding. Like, are you kidding right now, Mr. Clark? Because seriously, he doesn't know, right? He has no idea. He has no idea. It's funny. Funny guy. And then we're just going to put this last layer together and you can just see how easy that was to assemble. Well done, Alex Syberia. Peonies happen to be my very most favorite flower, and I have a bunch in my yard that are about ready to soon, hopefully, bloom. But this weather, man, it's been so horrible. I don't know, Cheryl, what was our spring like last year? My husband and I were trying to remember. We built our cabin in 2022. So last summer, we didn't really have any major building projects going on. I'm going to layer these up onto just some extra pieces here so that they're a little more dimensional when I put them onto my project. Yeah, we mostly last summer, we was here to enjoy the time at the lake. And I'm trying to remember if my husband, he must have been working a job last summer. I'm just forgetting that. But I think he was. Yes, he was. He was working a job. So he was away during the week and then we would just come to the lake on the weekends. I might die cut that again. We'll see here. I have 3 layers for the other leaf. But I think it was yucky. Oh, okay. So Cheryl says it was hot. Okay. Well, was the spring hot too? Was it hot in the spring? I can't remember that. I just remember the horrible forest fires. So I guess it must have just been hot and dry all summer. I know they're saying that it's supposed to be a hot summer. And like, I'm not complaining about the rain. I think the rain is fantastic, but could it be a little warmer maybe? Okay. Yeah. Hot and dry. And I'm so grateful that we don't have, well, right now anyways, we don't have the fires. Tiffany, where are you? You're in what part of, where in the US are you? Tiffany said, I used to track my crafty purchases and then I stopped. I don't need that negativity. Totally true. Totally true. Yeah. Who needs that negativity? Is right. Yes. Okay. Outside of DC. Nice. So you're probably in Virginia. You're probably having some beautiful weather. No rain hardly last year. So at the lake, we actually got lots of rain last year here at Candle. We never was there. I don't know if we even really had fire bans last summer here at the lake. I don't remember it if we did because we had so much rain here in the summer. Yeah, dryness wasn't a problem here for sure. But I remember running my sprinklers a lot at home. I just love how that extra couple of layers of the die cuts really makes that nice and sturdy. It almost makes it feel like if you are a scrapbooker or a card maker too, you have chipboard embellishments, it does feel more like a chipboard embellishment. And I think what I'll do is I'll recess this one a little bit more and then it'll just, I'll see if this one can go to the back or what it looks like. I might add another layer to that one. Okay, so those are all put together. And because I'm yakking and crafting, this is going slowly, but really when I made that sample card, it went really, really fast. And I can see that I need to change the blade on the trimmer that I'm using here at the lake because the edges of my paper isn't very crisp. In fact, if I recall, one of the things I put on my list of things to bring up here is a guillotine trimmer. Okay, so this is just so soft and this card is very, very simple. It's going to be super, super simple, but I love the soft nature of the colors. I think I will put this one on the top. So pretty. And I love that combination of the teal and the green and the coral. I think it's just really lovely. And another thing that I thought was really cool about this stamp set that I'm going to be using for the sentiment is that there's actually a dad sentiment in here as well. So dad, you're the best. Love you, mom. Happy Mother's Day. And I love you are the sentiments in this set. So this is the next one that I'm going to use today. It's called Heartfelt Blooms. And yeah, you've got 4 different sentiments in there, which is really nice. And I love that there's a masculine one because you can give men flower cards, right? I don't think I need to pop this up on foam adhesive necessarily, but I think that I might just to give it that little bit of extra pop more than the foliage at the bottom. So before I do that, I'm going to glue my card front onto my base. I know, it's so pretty. Hi, Lori. Thanks for joining. And so I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the back of my card front here. And I'm just going to stand up and to make sure that I get this on here really straight. One of the nice things that I do really love about the master layouts is Gina has them all sized so that you do get that little bit of margin. I do not have a perfectly executed card base here, friends. It needs a little bit of help. So I will do that after the live, but it's just a little bit rough. I did not change the blade on my trimmer that I have up here at the lake. Let me show you what I use up here. I love it. And I actually have an extra blade for it, but I need to put it in. I brought some extra blades this time, but forgot to put them in. I'll just zoom you out a little bit, but this is I'm trying to remember what this is called. It's the Sizzix trimmer anyway. And it's the slot trimmer so that you've got that slot there. The reason why I got this for the cottage is because it's also a scoreboard, and it's also, you can also make envelopes with it, and you've got your envelope punch, your hole punch, and a tag punch, and a corner rounder. So it's kind of that multi-purpose, and it also has the scoring tool that comes with it as well, the bone folder. So really love that. And that works it's just really nice to have here, because then I didn't have to pack a bunch of different things. So Tiffany, I'm just using that Camo app to do that zooming in and out. Exactly. Handmade, not Hallmark, 100%. This card is A2, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's a top folding card. So what I did, Leslie, was I just took my 8 1/2 by 11 paper and cut it in half lengthwise, and then scored it at 5 1/2 inches to create that tent-fold card. And you'll see a lot of card makers use that kind of a card base because it's super, super easy to photograph the cards if you're going to photograph them standing up, which sometimes I will do that. One of the backdrops that I have at home in my area where I photograph my stuff is like a stand-up one. So it's just handy that way. And then, you can easily display them that way if you're the recipient getting the card. So I've just popped that up on a little bit of foam adhesive, and I'll just kind of center that ish up at the top. And now I'm ready to add my little stem. Are you guys crafting? Is anyone else crafting today? Yeah, the weather is just really conducive to just tucking in here, that's for sure. So I'm just going to take that stem. I'm going to kind of keep it in the center of that chevron a little bit, maybe just angled over a little bit, just so that it kind of looks a little bit more natural and has a little bit of a curve to it. And then I'll just go ahead and add my leaves. And then we just need to add a sentiment. Dot, dot, not a lot. Oh, Spectrum Gardenia. Love it. Love, love, love it. So nice. Yeah, I never met a 49 and Market collection I didn't like. Oof, that stuff is so good. And I think it's really interesting that they're bringing in they brought in another designer too to create even more different looks. But I love Katie Petite. She's amazing. So talented. I'm going to slide this one kind of underneath here a little bit. And give that a little push. And I don't know if you can really see on camera, but that extra little bit of die cutting and layering with those leaves, it just looks really nice. Now I did pre-stamp and die cut out the I love you sentiment from that other set, from the Heartfelt Bloom set. And I just thought that would be a good spot. Before I put that in though, I'm going to add some little splatter just because why not? So I have a bottle of water on my desk that says paint water because, I've dipped brushes in it and whatever. I just don't want to drink out of it because usually I'll have a water bottle on the go here at the lake. And the other thing that I have on my desk that I thought would be really pretty is these Pixie Sparkles from Cosmic Shimmer. So this comes in a little bottle like this. And again, I haven't linked to this, but I'll link to something similar. And I'm just going to go over here in a separate little area in my little trays over to the side. And I'm just going to squirt out some of that sparkle. And now I'll just go in with my brush and I'll just add a little bit of water to that. In fact, I think I might do this. Try not to pour this on my card. That would be disastrous. I'll just put a little bit of water right in that little pot. That would be sad, right? I'm always worried about water and stuff on my desk. No, don't drink it, right? Don't drink the paint water, but I'm going to drink this. So good. Yeah, so I'm just going to constitute this with a little bit of water. But again, I've got too much water in there. Darn it. Didn't do a great job of managing my water. I'm just going to tap this out and just poof that out with a little bit of the air in the bottle. These pixie sparkles are fun. Definitely fun. And I'll just drag a little over there. And now I'll just go ahead and splatter that in, or on, I should say. And we're just going to get just some really pretty glittery sparkles. And it's really subtle. It's not like in your face, tons of sparkle, but it's just really just a little bit of something. And I'll turn that into the light. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. It's just really pretty. Just some really nice, like I'm less of a bold. I don't do bold a whole lot in my card making. Sometimes I do, but right there is where I thought that could go. And I am going to grab a little bit of foam adhesive. Don't have a ton of foam adhesive options here at the lake, but I have a little bit of foam strip here. So I'll just trim off. And I do not have, another thing that I did put on my list of things to bring is some scissors, some Teflon scissors. So we're just going to put just a little bit of foam adhesive on here, the best we can. We don't need a ton. And let's grab that backer off of there. Come on, little guy. Cheryl, are you crafting? I didn't look at my computer after I asked that very much. Are you crafting today, Cheryl? Cheryl is a friend that I met at Crop and Create many years ago. I wish we still had some in-person Crop and Creates to go to. Okay. If I was at home, I'd probably do something a little bit different with that. I don't have any other foam adhesive. I don't have the long foam adhesive strips, but that's pretty good. You know what else would probably be really nice on here that I don't think I have is gems. Or, oh wait, I do have these. I have these gem sparklers from Alt New. These might be pretty on here. They're iridescent. I don't know. Yeah, they might be all right. What do you guys think? Should I go for it? Should we use some of these on here? Oh, I miss the Saturdays at the German Club. Yes. I wonder if we can could we find another place to do that? Would that be possible? Oh, darn it. Where did that go? Come back here. That would be so amazing, wouldn't it? Oh, where could we do it that wouldn't cost $1 million? I don't know, but I totally agree. I'm not going to go too crazy with bling on here. Just a few little ones. Maybe this one should be close to this one. Just a few, like even just 3, I think looks pretty. What do you think? Like not too much, just a little something. I think that's a really pretty card. Well done, Alex Syberia. Super easy to make. We made that in about an hour, but like I did a lot of talking. So I feel like you could make this card easily in 30 minutes. Really easy to make. Okay. Do you guys have time for another one? Or should we sign off? What's everybody think? I have time, but you know, I don't know if you guys have time to watch another one. Well, what I was thinking I would do is do this one, make a card with this one. So this is the Heartfelt Bloom stamp. It is incredible. It is so stunning, friends. I love the style of this drawing. I just love it so much. It's sketchy, right? It's a sketchy drawing. Like, how stunning is that? And the stencil's really fun. So let's try it. We're going to do this. I think we'll just use the same colors. I think we'll use the same colors that we already used. And I actually think I'm going to restamp this. It's still in my MISTI. I'm going to restamp it onto a piece of cardstock that's already die cut with that Master Layouts 12. So again, we've got that same stitched edge around it. I just like the looks of that. I think it just finishes it nicely. I am going to dry up this water before I dip something in it, because that's totally something I would do. And we're going to just go ahead and I do have, so in my MISTI, I don't need that magnet. I've got one of the MISTI sticky mats in here. So I don't have a grip mat at the lake, but I do have in my MISTI, I've got one of the sticky mats. And I am going to use just the black ink I have on my desk, which happens to be Memento. I'm going to ink this up. I'm hoping there's no fuzzies on my stamp. It looks okay. Might have to put that onto a flat surface. Just move that for a second so that I can give that a good press in the middle. Thanks, Gretchen. Thanks for watching. And just go ahead. Stamp this out again. That's pretty centered. It's kind of a miracle because I didn't check that. It's more or less centered. That's just, dumb luck because I didn't check that before I stamped it. But the panel that I stamped it on originally was pretty much the same, close to the same dimensions as this Master Layouts 12 creates when you die cut it. So super pretty, right? It's just a beautiful stamp. I love it. Okay, thanks so much, Tiffany. You too. And just put the MISTI aside. I'm going to bring my mat back because we're going to do some stenciling. And if you can't stick around for another card, don't worry. No worries at all. But I have this on my desk, so I thought, why not? So these are the coordinating stencils with the Heart Bloom set. And this is a set of, does it say on the packaging? 6 stencils. It doesn't say, but there's 6 images here. So there's 6 stencils. And they are all numbered. So up here in the corner, and I doubt that you can see this, but etched in. Oh, I think my husband just tried to call me. So what's happening here? My camo flipped. Okay. I don't know why he called me. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. But I don't know. Somehow, yeah, my camo flipped. I'm just going to have to take my phone out for a sec and just readjust the orientation of my phone. Do you want to take a look at my cabin? while I'm doing that. Sorry about that. Yeah, he just tried to call me, even though I told him that I would be live, and then it somehow messed up my camera. Are we good? Can you guys still hear and see me okay? Sorry about that. Okay, so there are 6 stencils, and we are going to start with stencil number 1. Now, I did not stamp this in the orientation of the way that the stencil's oriented for stenciling. It's more upright rather than on an angle. So I just simply have to turn it until I get the right orientation here. Okay, so now we are just going to go ahead and put this down into the right spot. And it's great because the stencils are all etched so that we know exactly where, so this is all etched and so on. And you can see how this is going to line up really well up here at the top as well. Hi guys, I just muted myself just for a second just to talk to my husband. Okay, so sorry. I am going to go ahead and tape this down. I'm going to tape it down at the top and the bottom. And up here at the top, I do have a little bit of tape actually on the cardstock. And I'm going to use the same colors of orange that I used for my other cards. I'm going to start off with the cheeky, and with the bottom. So with the first stencil, I usually start off with the lightest color, and then I get darker as I keep adding layers. And there's 3 stencils for the blooms. So that's going to work out perfectly for these 3 tones of orange. So I'm going to start off with cheeky. And we're going to go in and stencil in this area. One thing that I will say, you got to be careful because I've actually cut this from that, using that master layouts. I'm going to just find a Post-it note, and I'm going to just mask off. I'm going to mask these areas off. Okay. Now, one thing I'm just realizing, I'm so silly. This can be die cut, but I kind of wanted to do a couple of these to show you some options. I'll talk about that as I go. But this can also be die cut. You can do this as a single layer card with a stencil, or you can die cut it out. So I'll actually show you that both ways. So I'm taping this off because I don't want to get any of my ink on that card base that I have die cut with that master layouts. My husband came in to see if the tamper outside was too loud. He called me. Is your live over? He said when he came in. Like, no, it's not over. Don't call me. Oh, funny. Anyways, he's using the tamper out there, and it is quite loud, but it's not too loud. It's fine. Okay, so you can see how the lines of the stencil are lining up with the stamped image. The lines of the stencil are lining up here with the stamped image. So it works really, really well. And I just want a light base with this cheeky here. I don't want it to be too dark. So, and I don't, of course, want to get any ink on my card front. And so that's why I've got that masked off with the little Post-it notes. Okay, so we're going to take that one off. And right now it looks weird, right? It just kind of looks like, I don't know. That doesn't look good. It will look good. They've designed these stencils so perfectly that there's no chance it's going to look bad. It's just a really fantastic set of stencils. Okay, so now I'm going to take this one and line it up. And again, I'm going to just use the etched lines as well as the edges of the cutaway on the stencil to line that up. And it is very, very easy to do. Okay, and I'm just taking my time just to make sure that I have it lined up properly. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my masks back on. If you're going to use the die, you don't have to worry about masking anything off. You wouldn't need to do that, right? Okay, so now I'm going to go to my second color. So this time I'm going to use the blush again. This is my medium color. So with stencil number 2, I'm going one tone darker. I'm going to go in with the medium and blend. And I'm just doing clockwise, counterclockwise. And every time I feel like it's getting a little bit too light, I'll just dip back into my ink. There's starting to be a lot more activity here at the lake now as we get closer to summer. Of course, we're not even at the first day of summer yet here. We've still got another 10 days or so before the first day of summer. But I think we're all anxious because the summer season is so short here in Canada. It's just, we're all so anxious for summer to get here and the nice weather. So I'm making this fairly dark, and we are going over top of some of the stenciling that we already did, and that's fine. They have that all built into this stencil so that the subsequent layers of stencil that are going to come are going to create more details. Every once in a while, I like to just take my baby wipe and wipe my hands off so that I don't transfer ink where I don't want it. But you can just see that as we keep going, we're getting more of that layering look. And now I'm looking for stencil 3, which is this guy. And we're going to go in again. You can just see that the etched line there for that section. And we're going to line that up to start with. And when that is lined up perfectly, then you can just go up and see that there's etched lines up here. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. It's hard for me to know if you can see that on camera. And it's looking pretty good, I think. Let's move it that way a tiny little bit. And just wiggle it around until I'm happy with the placement. And I'll put the masks back on. Not much likelihood of getting ink down in that corner, but I'll put it on anyways, just in case. And now we're going to go to that pucker color, darkest orange. And we're going to go into these areas that are remaining with this really dark orange. And you could even actually, it would be pretty to go with kind of like a rusty color would be pretty here as well. Just do this one as a single layer card, but I will show you that there is a coordinating die as well for this guy. I'm just giving that a really good amount of that dark orange. Not varying it really because the stencil is going to vary the light and dark for us. We really don't even have to think about that. So that, isn't that beautiful? Like it's quite artsy looking because of that kind of sketchy look of the stamp. It's beautiful. I love that one. And then stencil number 4, we're going to go in and start to get our leaves. And get those taped down. The leaves are really pretty on this one too. Gorgeous. I am going to mask off here. I'm not going to worry about that down there. I don't think I need to worry about that one, but we'll just put that down anyways. And we're going to use the same greens that we used for the other part. So we're going to start off with celery again as our lightest color. And I will just go to my paper towel here, rub that off a little bit. Tap, tap, tap. Let's grab some ink, blend that on. Get that going. What's your preference in when you're creating, if you use stamps? Do you like to color them with your other types of coloring tools? Like, would you rather color this with Copics, or do you love the idea of stenciling? I love the ease of the stenciling for coloring something. It just makes coloring projects just like go super fast and super, super easy to do for sure. Okay, this is stencil 5 of 6. And this is for the centers of the flowers and the details on the leaves. So we're going to go in and line this up. I'm going to really be focusing on the centers of those flowers there. And I'm going to grab a yellow. I think I'll do these first. And I think I'm going to do butter. This is a Simon color. Tap that onto there. Our center. So pretty. I love that. That's just a really nice muted yellow. And then we're going to go in with honey. We're going to wait. We're not going with honey yet. We're going to wait till I get my next stencil on there. And our second color of green is going to be Limelicious. So we've got our celery on there already. Now we're going to go with our middle value of our green. And that is this guy, which is Limelicious. And again, I am just brushing off that green ink a little bit on my paper towel. And you know what? I'm going to grab another Post-it and just put it over top of that center there, just in case, because this little area is pretty close. In fact, I'm going to cover that one up too, just because it's dangerous. At this point, I don't want to have to start over. So I'm going to cover up those areas with my Post-it notes. It all kind of looks a little bit weird right now, but we're okay. Just making sure got everything covered. And then this big area. And there is our second layer of green. So take those off. Look at that. Awesome. Okay. And then we have one more stencil, and this is stencil number 6. And this is going to add more details to the centers of the flowers and more details to the leaves. And that will complete these beautiful flowers. And I'm just checking. Okay. Cover that up. And we'll go ahead. I'm not going to cover anything up while I do the yellow. I don't think we need to. And I'm going to go in with the honey and add some details in there to the centers. And that's just a really rich, dark yellow. It's beautiful. And then we're going to do our leaves. Cover that. Cover that center. And we're going to do our perfection for the leaves. Thanks, Leslie. It is a beautiful stencil. I really like it. I think it's fun. The nice thing about stencils is, and for this one, this is going to be probably just be a single layer, but the nice thing about stencils is they're not that expensive. So you can create some really pretty details and cards with a tool that's not quite as expensive. The dies are usually what gets us, right? The dies are usually a little more. I just want to make sure I got all the areas. Looks like it. And the peel reveal. Oh, look how stunning that is. Isn't that gorgeous? And like not a lot of effort required there. It's just really pretty. So now if we were to have just stenciled this image here without the stitched, right? If we had stenciled this one, we could then have taken the die. So there's a coordinating die set for heart blooms. So this coordinating die, and cut out that image, right? And then added it to a card front instead of a single layer. And that's totally another option. So I could do that now. I could go ahead and die cut this out and add it on, but I kind of like that it's got that, it has that faux stitched edge on it. So now we can put that onto our card base and add our sentiment. And the sentiments from this set are, if you just joined us, Dad, you're the best. Mom, love you, Mom, and happy Mother's Day, as well as I love you. So the sentiments are very nice in that set. I'm just going to tidy up here a little bit. And another thing that we could do that would be kind of interesting is we could also take, if we wanted to, and I'll just talk about this and show you how you could change this up a little bit, is you could take your chevron stencil and you could add a little bit of stenciling in the corners, let's say. So these two corners here, and then flip the stencil around and you could add that chevron detail if you wanted to in your corners. So again, using that chevron stencil. Another thing that you could do with this is pop it up on some foam adhesive and add your card front to your card base with foam, just to give it that little bit of dimension as well. Another thing that I like to do is I like to use this stuff, which is sheer shimmer spritz. This one is made by Imagine Crafts. There's also one by Sukaneko. And what this does is it just adds the most beautiful shimmer and shine. So this type of card front would be perfect for that, because it's kind of, you know, there's not, the stenciling is beautiful, but if you wanted to add just that little bit more detail to it, you could definitely do that as well. Another thing that you could do, and I probably left my lid off on this for too long. Let's see. Another thing that you could do is you could actually, I think you could fussy cut around the edge of that. If you fussy cut around the edge of this flower and then just added it to, popped it up on the card. So if I went ahead, for example, and stenciled that other stamped image that I had here. So if I stenciled this again and fussy cut around the edge of this one and added it on, popped it up on top of this one, that would be really cool. That would be another really fun way to use this stencil in an interesting way. So just some other ideas, different things that you can do. There's always ways to stretch your stamps and dies. Always, always, always. And it's nice to think of different ways to use them, right? Because our supplies are not inexpensive, and it's nice to think outside the box a little bit with regards to how we can use them to make them stretch. Okay, so now I am going to, I think I'm going to just go with that Dad, You're the Best stamp for this one. And let's go for it. How's everybody doing? Still see a few eyeballs out there. A few people are still here. Grab a little scrap of white paper. Oh, think of the color options, right? The color combinations you could do with that would be just endless, really. So many colors. You could actually even do, I think you could do rainbow. I think you could stencil this flower rainbow for sure. That would be beautiful. I'm going to try that. I am totally going to try that. I'm going to just get rid of this magnet. I don't know why I've got it sitting on there. Okay, this piece of scrap paper is way too big, but it's just what I have handy. So I'm just going to pop my sentiment on here, my teeny tiny sentiment. And grab some black ink. I like the font too. Oh, I'm totally off camera. Sorry, guys. I like this font. I'll show it to you up close. I just want to make sure I've got a good impression there. Check that out. Okay, I have no fingernails. Really nice. So we've got the scripty font and then just the print text. And now we just need that die, which I will find. I have a really small desk here at the lake, but wow, is it messy right now. Oh, put this little bottom one down here. Do you think? I think that's the one. Sorry for that noise, guys. A little ASMR there for you. This one? Yes, that is the one. Okay, so we're just going to cut around this. And I do have my Gemini Junior up here at the lake, which is nice. But I also have Gemini Mini. If I can quickly find the plate for it, I will use it because it's pretty handy for small dies like this. I'm just going to take my time and make sure I get this lined up properly. You know, it's always a sad day, right? When you just get something stamped out and you go to die cut it and it's not lined up. I'm just going to find my plate. So this is the little Gemini Mini. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but this is a Crafter's Companion product. Really works well. Love it. So nice and compact. So nicely on my desktop. I do, like I said, I've got my Junior over to the side there too, but for bigger jobs. Okay, So there we have our perfect little sentiment. I'm going to put that die away before I lose it on this messy desk. Okay. And now we can just go ahead and add this onto our project. If I was at home, I could add some twine on here, some ribbon, whatever. Let's see where we can add this. Right there is not bad. What do you think? I don't mind that. Zoom you guys in just a teeny tiny little touch before we are finished here today. And we'll go ahead and add that. Do I want to add it with some foam adhesive or just flat? I think it would look nice if it's popped up. The option would be to cut it a few more times and then layer them together. And actually, I might do that just because my foam adhesive options aren't super awesome. Okay, so I'll just put that through my Gemini Mini here a couple more times. I love my Mini. And then there's the, if you're not familiar with all of the die cutting machines from Crafter's Companion, we also have a MIDI, which is larger obviously than this one. This one's the MIDI, then the MIDI. Then we have the Junior, and then we have regular sort of regulation size, the original size. But my favorite is still the Gemini 2, which is at home. I love it. Works super, super well. And for those of you who've been, thinking about trying out a different die cutting machine, I actually bought the Anna Griffin to try it because there was a lot of hype about the Anna Griffin. People are talking about the Anna Griffin. It's nice. I like it. It works well. But I will say that the Gemini 2 has better pressure than the Anna Griffin does. And I bought the machine to try it. I didn't buy the mini Anna Griffin. I bought the regular sized one. And yeah, it does work well. I like it. But the Gemini 2 is quieter and the pressure is better on it. So, there's pros and cons, right? To every machine out there. They're not all the same. And that's my honest opinion. I know I work for Crafter's Companion, but I love that machine. The Gemini 2 is so good. I use it and use it and use it and use it. And it just still works like a charm. And yeah, it works well. I love it. I love that you can create a really nice dimensional sentiment just by die cutting out a few extra bits. And now we've got a nice dimensional sentiment for our project here. So if you have someone in your life that is male, that loves florals, this is perfect. That is perfect. I love that image. It's so, so pretty. So just give that a good press so that it sticks down. And now we could go in with some gems, or we could splatter that, whatever you would like to do to finish it off. And like I said, it also could have used something like that shimmer spritz on it as well. Okay, there it is. I was going to say, where's my other card? So there's our 2 finished cards today, friends. The Alex Syberia Chevron Chic Stencil, Heartfelt Blooms, and Elegant Peony dies are the products that we use today. I did link those up in the description box below if you're interested. Super, super fun product. And yeah, I really love it. If I had another camera set up, I'd bring you over to my face, but I do not. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me for my very first Crafting at the Cabin live. Have a wonderful day. Have a great rest of your weekend, friends. And I will see you hopefully again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.